Well, what a week it was. I don't know how your week was, but my week started with a lot of change. And let me start with that and explain to you some of the change. I guess a Friday before the weekend, our receptionist, who has been with us for about 6 years, her voice has been failing her. This has happened over the past couple of years. We thought it was just due to pollen, just due to having congestion and colds and sinuses and things like that, but it's just continually gotten worse and worse. Now, she is the person that answers the phone and that you talk to, and then she directs the calls to wherever she needs to go, and she finds out all the information. Now, when I answered the phone, I could conclude the conversation in 2 sentences. She doesn't do that. She spends 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes with every person that calls. I've got, in my phone call, I know what needs to happen, but she not only knows what needs to happen, but she's also asked about your family, how things are going at work. She's a very caring person, and it really comes through as she talks to people over the telephone. She gets all the meat. My wife says I need to get more information, but I seem to struggle with that. By the end of the day, she's at least said thank you 100 times. She's just a very courteous person, and everybody that calls loves to speak to Jennifer. Well, she went over to UVA 2 Fridays ago, and they finally figured out that what was going wrong with her voice was that there was something between her brain that was not sending the signal to her throat to make the muscles work. It's a rare neurological disorder. And there is no cure. There are treatments which will help, which she'll start on in the middle of the month. But this woman who was so full of energy and conversation has now been reduced to a whisper. And with that, the first of the week, she came to realize, and we came to realize, that she could not do her job effectively talking with people on the phone and getting all the information. Now, there are many other things that she does because she multitasks and she's very busy all day long. So what we decided to do was to temporarily hire somebody to answer the phone and type some proposals and have her in the background still dealing with all the paperwork and making sure everything runs smoothly and whatnot. And so I contacted the Virginia Employment Commission, and they asked me a question, which is where I'm leading to. Do you want full-time or part-time? And I said, well, what's full-time? And they said 30 to 40 hours. And I said, well, that's what we need right now. So full-time with a 168-hour week, as far as employment is concerned, is considered to be 30 to 40 hours. And I want to talk about that in a little bit. I'll come back to it. But as we start into our fast, I want to reflect on that. I'm also reminded of the story of a man named Smithy. That was his nickname. And Smithy really loved to spend time outdoors. He had a vast amount of friends. He loved to hunt. He loved to fish. He didn't have a lot of money, but he spent all of his free time doing those things. Well, all of his friends had dogs, and Smithy did not have a dog. But all of his friends' dogs were great. They would flush out the birds, pick up the rabbits, run the deer and the bear, and it was the way that they spent their free time. Well, Smithy saved his money. He saved for a year. And it came to pass that in another state, some puppies were available, but not just any puppies. The mother and father of this puppy were top-notch. They were award-winning dogs. They were the best of the best, and they were pure-breed dogs. So he went to the state, and he gave them $1,000 for this puppy. And he brought this puppy back in all hopes that he would have the best in the county, maybe even the state. That he had saved all his money and worked for this day. Well, through the course of the winter and raising the puppy, feeding him table scraps and loving on him as you do puppies do, And while he was at work, he would turn on reruns of Ren Tin Tin and Lassie for the puppy to watch as an inspiration. When it came time for the first hunt, and his friends were really anxious to see his award-winning dog. This dog that had all the right bloodline, had all the papers, and should be the best of the best. And so Smithy loaded his puppy into the back of the truck and went out to the hunt. And he wanted to be a little bit late because, you know, you want to be able to show off what you have when everybody's there. And he opened up the box on the back of the truck and got his puppy out, and everybody was amazed. The dog had beautiful markings. It was really a nice looking dog. And it was time for the hunt, and the dogs took off, but Smithy's dog didn't. Smithy's dog returned to the back of the truck and jumped up in the box where Smithy had left some Scooby snacks for his dog to come to. And his face turned red as he realized that this dog he had worked so hard for and spent all this money on was not doing what it was supposed to do. And his friends looked at him and said, "Smithy, that dog won't hunt." And it is that I want to talk to you about today, about what went wrong. You see, he had a dog from a good bloodline, but the preparation for the dog to be a good hunting dog was never done. The episodes of Ren Tin Tin and Lassie and table scraps and all the things that can make a dog a good family dog were there, but not the things that would train the dog to be a good hunting dog. And I'll tell you the story today at the beginning of our fast because it is important that we fast. Fasting in the Orthodox Church is a way that we recenter our lives on God. But we don't just have to limit it to what we know as far as our food is concerned. And there are also special graces given to those who have physical conditions that can't do without certain things. But we're called to give up things that tend to separate us from God as well. Things like texting, maybe. Or maybe it's gaming. Or maybe it's watching Lucy. I love Lucy, I don't know. It's whatever you have in your life that tends to consume so much of your time. Because what we need to be is a full-time Christian, not just part-time, or not just 30 to 40 hours, but an all-time Christian. And in this spare time that you can look for a way to spend the time that you were wasting away into Never Never Land. You could visit people at the adult homes. You could visit neighbors. There could be neighbors that could help you, or that you could help to prepare their houses for spring, cleaning some windows, raking some leaves, some community service. Because remember, Christ came as a servant, and we are supposed to be full-time Christians, and we should be servants as well. So I ask you that during this fast that we not just think about the food, but that we examine our lives. We want to be able to be the dog that can hunt when Christ returns. We want to have the preparation that's necessary. We want to be on the right diet and not be too overfilled. We want to be ready. St. Simeon, the new theologian, said, "My brethren, it is not possible for these things to come about in one day or in 1 week. They will take much time, labor, and pain, in accordance with each man's attitude and willingness, according to the measure of faith and one's contempt for the objects of sight and thought. In addition, it is also in accordance with the fervor of his ceaseless penance and his constant working in the secret chamber of his heart, that is accomplished more quickly or more slowly by the gift and grace of God. But without fasting, no one was ever able to achieve any of these virtues or any others. For fasting is the beginning and foundation of every spiritual activity. So with that, I'll leave you. At the beginning of the meat fast, plan to succeed, don't plan to fail. Stock up on the peanut butter. And let's be successful during this fast. Glory to thee, O Lord. Glory to thee.